clap.
On the edge.
Actually.
Oh, they said a blockhead and push it through the pain.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, and taking names
I'm sure we can hear that, and you can definitely see you do it.
and learning
What the
we
fuck?
can.
I can't
Stick it to the man.
YOLO forever.
Oh, I am
We don't care.
blockhead. A blockhead, yes I am.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is a recap episode of the 5 blocks. You might be sick of them. We don't care. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to just reiterate why and how important they are to achieving your goals. You're going to witness firsthand Donny and I try to achieve some of the goals that we've set out to complete this year while we try to exhibit these 5 blocks and characteristics. So welcome to the 6th episode of Blockhead Nation Podcast. I'm here with Donny, and we have our trusty, awesome, never failing, always showing up, technical wizard, David Lewis. Yeah, Donnie's clapping if you're listening to this on a podcast, but his hands aren't making clapping sounds, apparently. I
try to.
He's doing his best over there.
It's just, I think they're swollen or something like that. They're like puffy. I don't know what's going on with me, dude. I have no idea.
You've been going hard, bro. You've had a lot going on the last couple of weeks. You went to a wedding. You had Gina's birthday, and you were driving all over frickin' the East Coast and into Canada. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, yeah, like Rudy said, guys, episode 6. It's just a recap episode. We're just recapping the Blockhead series and just kind of catching up and kind of shooting the shit a little bit. Also, it's just myself, Rudy, and our trusted, awesome Dave on this call as well. We don't have Kyle, but we know that he'll be back soon. He's just dealing with things that he's got to deal with. So, anybody, and I mean anybody, I've been telling everybody about this, Rudy. You have to go to Quebec City.
Yeah, Quebec, yeah.
Or Quebec City, yeah. It's a little funky because the way that I'm recording, I can't hear myself through the thing, so it's like a little muffled. So I'm gonna pull it off. That's better. So, dude, 6-hour drive from Boston. Most beautiful city in the continent of North America. I'm gonna make that proclamation or whatever statement right now. I don't even think it's close. There's probably places out in Europe, because I haven't been before, that are similar, but there's not a place in North America that is as beautiful as that. It's quaint. It's beautiful. There wasn't too many tourists. Cobblestones, architecture, they would blow your mind. I think it's an amazing place, especially for like a couple's weekend or date. And you can do everything in a few days. Me and Gina spent 2 nights there. We went to the island. I can't remember. I can't say anything in French, so I'm not even going to try. But there's an island about 10, 15 minutes away. You cross the bridge. We drove around the whole thing. It takes about an hour. You got the coastline the whole time of the bay, the way it comes in. And then we did the bus tour the next day, walked around, went to several restaurants. It was just absolutely delightful. And I recommend it highly.
I never even thought to visit Quebec City, but now I have thought, and I probably will because of you're pumping it up.
Well, it's kind of cool though, Rudy. I don't want to go on a rabbit hole about it, but me and Gina just wanted to do a little getaway for her birthday because we've been planning a trip for a while. AKA, I promised her an IOU like 2 or 3 years ago about going on a trip. I finally cashed in and did it. So before I got my head chopped off clean with a freaking samurai sword. But I was like, Gina's like, oh, we can go to like, I don't know, down to Virginia or go to Maine or New Hampshire. And I was like, we have our passports. Let's go to fucking Canada. It's like 4 or 5 hours away. So I was thinking maybe Montreal or something, but which, maybe you'll go there soon and hell, you'll have to let me know how it is. And now that we've been, I mean, I'm really excited to maybe go back to Montreal and make that one of my next trips because it's so you're just immersed in a different culture. Everyone's speaking French. It's a beautiful. The thing about the culture too is they're very. I can't think of the right word, but they're traditional in the sense that they're locked in,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like it's really cool how they like we were on the tour and stuff like that, but they colonized there, and there's English influence, but they kept the language, and I feel like that's part of their like if you have like American pride and you have like a flag or whatever, and you have pride in our country or like gun rights or whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Their language is their pride, and
Mm.
we were even speaking to the guy at the hotel, and the guy was like, I'm like, it seems like cheap to live out here and it's so beautiful. I'm like, maybe we'll move out here, just joking around. And he's like, it would be good for a little while, but he's like, you really wouldn't like fit in. It'd be hard for you to actually like live here.
Mm.
Like we love tourists, like they're great, but he's like, it'd be hard to actually live here if you didn't actually speak the native tongue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought
Sure.
that was interesting.
Well, I bet, just like, we have an immigration issue. Nobody wants people coming to their country just settling in, unless
Yeah.
they're, bringing some type of huge benefit. That's not to say that's what he was saying, but uh, I I think
We did
anybody,
joke about that.
yeah, I gotta watch my mouth, but at the same time, I think you know going for a little while is a good idea. It's good to see what other cultures have going on, see what other areas outside of, you know, your normal 3 hour driving radius, and just definitely take a trip up to Canada. I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna do it. Anna and I are due for a getaway as well. We're actually going to the UK for my cousin's wedding tomorrow,
Awesome.
so that'll be a fun little adventure. We're then gonna fly to Poland after that, and my dad is gonna meet her parents. So
Wow. That's
that
awesome.
it is awesome. It'll be anything but relaxing, and uh, we'll get a bunch of pictures at least, and it'll
I
be
didn't know
fun.
that they haven't met. I didn't know that they haven't met yet, Rudy. So that's actually
They
really
haven't
cool. That's
met
exciting.
they haven't met anything or outside of FaceTime. Uh, you know, the her parents weren't able to come to our wedding or anything like that.
Just because it was it's just such a hike, right?
Yeah.
Interesting fact actually. This summer I was hoping to actually bring my mom out here and bring her to the North Shore to meet Gina's mom and her sister and potentially her dad too, because obviously, I mean, we've been together, 5+ years now, and my mom hasn't met her parents just because logistically my mom, doesn't drive anymore, so it's there's a lot of coordination that obviously has to happen. So, um,
Absolutely, dude. I mean, you gotta.
so that would be fun.
That will be fun. It's more common, Don. Even if they are in the same state, a couple hour difference. Yeah. So, honey, go do what you got to do. I'll see him at another time. I'm sure they really want to meet people, but there is a coordination effort
Yeah,
um,
for
that
sure.
that the kids got to do, and honestly, we're lazy sometimes. And it's not good, but we gotta we gotta.
It's making me think of something. I mean, I think that it's family is very important to me, and I think I made that very clear, especially in the gratitude episode, Rudy.
Absolutely.
But I think that it's good to establish your own relationship. I mean, I think that having your significant other meet your parents within a reasonable amount of time is important. But once you start getting the in-laws involved, there's obviously a lot of things that can get a little bit messy, and there's a lot of stuff. So I think establishing your own relationship, and I feel like me and Gina have like her parents like me, my mom and my family really likes Gina, so it's great, right? So it's like even if for whatever reason, right, my mom and they didn't get along as great as I would love. It doesn't matter. Our relation, their relationship isn't our relationship, right? So I think that that's something that is important for people to remember, and I think that it's something that should happen, but maybe that influence happening too soon wouldn't always be the best because then it could get conflated and kind of throw something off track that necessarily didn't have anything to do with people that aren't gonna ever really have to deal with each other. Does that make sense?
Dude, that's a huge point. That's a
Yeah,
fantastic point. I,
especially if you're far away, like you said. I mean, obviously, if we're all living in the same town and there's a kid involved and stuff like that, then it gets a little bit more communicative and stuff like that. And that's one thing I do envy about different cultures. And also, like the back in the day, is that people really were more like on their own farm. Like my family grew up on a farm, big family, uncles lived there, cousins, and they all grew up together. And I mean, just it was tough at times. My mom said it was really tough growing up at a farm. It was a lot of hard work. She cooked for all her younger brothers and sisters, but she's like, it was amazing. I mean, we grew up with our cousins and our friends on a 250-acre farm in Adams. Like that used to be my family farm. I mean, it would be so awesome if our family still had that. You know what I mean? And it's cool that you had a big property in your family as well. Mine was a lot. I didn't get to enjoy it, but at least my mom and her siblings did.
It's nice to have that space. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't have Bucks Deep anymore. I miss it, and next time, maybe one of our goals, Don, is this thing grows and we get, maybe we get money someday. We
Instead of just spending money.
Yeah, right. We could invest in a large property and have it for our families and our blockheads, and we'll bring the community out. So
I just thought about something cool too. So as this is the recap episode, and we might keep it short because it's already 10:30 at night, and we've been trying to figure out all these technical things. It's like I don't know if I gotta say this. I don't know if other people run into this, but I always have technical issues when something's important. It used to happen when I used to send contracts electronically during real estate. It would be fine. It'd work great. I would use it for like other things outside of work, and it would always work fine. Every time it was like getting a deal in or doing something, there would always be an issue with it. Or like the people would be, oh, I can't find it in my email. I don't know where it is. Same the other day, I was editing like a PDF and I just had to like add some stuff to a site plan. It was a disaster. I'm not even sure if it's going to come out okay once it gets electronically signed. And I have no problem with all my Microsoft Team meetings, my work meetings, our past meetings. But every time we hop on here, there's an issue with like my audio. So we figured out some stuff. We're really hoping that it works out. But I think it's just a good point that like sometimes things get in the way when you're trying to accomplish something or something's important. And sometimes that's you and like you getting in your own way by putting too much weight on something. And I definitely have done that a lot in my own life, being like anxious and really trying to rush things or get things done last minute or whatever you have it. But it's also, I think it's, the world or God or whatever you believe in challenging you. Because when you're really pushing for something, it's not meant to be easy.
No, it's not.
I always say that, God challenges the strong, right? I've had a lot of things medically and stuff like that too. And, I'm just very blessed that some of those things have happened to me because I've been able to battle through them and still come out of the other side and be okay, where maybe other people wouldn't have been as resilient at the time. Mm-hmm. But part of the Blockhead series that we're going to get into is that you can be that resilient and you are able to build it up. It is a muscle. Your mind is a muscle, and you can actually strengthen that by going through things and going through trials and tribulations. A lot of people don't know this, dude. I used to have crippling anxiety to the point where my hands seized up when I was like 23. And I had like $3,000 worth of credit card debt. I probably have $3,000 on my credit card right now that I got to pay off. You know what I mean? But
But at 23, it's like what
Well, what the hell is the most debt? I mean, it was the most debt that I ever had. I mean, even $3,000. If I $3,000 was a lot of money to me, and I was like, how am I going to pay this off? And that was paying for gas, paying for leads, really just trying to do the real estate business because it's commission only. I wasn't getting any, stipend or anything. And I was just between that and life, and I don't probably drinking too much and stuff. I mean, there's probably a variety of reasons and diet, but the things that I didn't know back then. And honestly, that wasn't part of the mainstream. The health and fitness wasn't as mainstream as it is now, and I'm very grateful for that. Mm-hmm. And but it was really cool because at the time I'd never really had an issue, thank God, with like drugs or like really addiction besides coffee, but I really wanted some Ativans just to have. And my doctor at the time, Donna, she's retired, was like, Ryan, you're a young guy. I would start going to the gym. You really shouldn't be reliant on medication if you don't want to be. And up to that point, Rudy, I never wanted to be on medication. I don't even like taking Tylenol. I never really take medication. I don't like it. I never got into any of that stuff. And I was like, really frustrated because I'm like, I really need this though. I mean, I was really scary when my body seized up. I thought I was freaking dying. And it was one of the best, things that could have happened to me, because as much as I like to say, oh, I don't have addictive personality, I'm, so great. Who knows, right? If I
Yeah.
got on something like that, it would have been hard, and I never would have been able to build the blocks or build the resilience in my own mind in order to get past that stage of my life. And between dealing with that and other hardships, I feel like I've hardened myself or strengthened my brain to the point where I can deal with really tough things like the eye surgeries last year or whatever other things have come up in my life that I haven't mentioned yet,
Yeah.
and battle through those without having a panic attack, where if it was not even 10 years ago, I would be in a completely different mental state. So you can get through to the other side. And just because somebody like myself seems like to be doing okay or confident on the outside, that was something that I dealt with in the past, and I wanted people to know that because it is important.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I don't have that anxiety. If it comes on, I'm able to get past it. And yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Absolutely, man. And thank you for doing that. And I think, Jeff Mouton has been training you.
Molten.
Molten.
Molten. Yeah, no, and he's amazing too. I mean, I got to give
He's
him
a,
a shout out, and
he
we'll do an episode. He's
he
awesome.
is. We're gonna have him on, but one of his catchphrases is, seek discomfort. That's the team that we're gonna be competing on for the Spartan race, and
And Hayden's doing it, which is awesome. Shout out to
that
Hayden.
that is sweet. It's just so important because you hit on it in the work ethic episode. Everything's handed to people nowadays. If you're sick, you get a medication for it. If you're mentally ill, you get a medication for it. If you can't focus, you get a medication for it. It's incredible what a trip to the gym and a heartfelt venting conversation with a friend will do to your mental and physical health. Just having that state of vulnerability with a buddy or a loved one and getting something off your chest, rather than holding it close and maybe um, internalizing some negative thoughts. And we talk about that in the gratitude episode. It's a good way to turn your mindset around by releasing that and letting go of whatever those negative thoughts are. And or if you want to get into better shape, or if you're feeling like you're pretty stagnant, get the blood flowing, go to the gym, go for a walk. um, it's putting yourself through these and I guess it doesn't have to be uncomfortable to go do these activities, but when you put yourself through them, you are more resilient the next time another hardship comes around, right? That's not to say things are going to be easy ever. There are certainly life instances and life events that will never be easy, but
No.
putting yourself through discomfort and practicing putting yourself through discomfort will ensure that you're a little bit more able to cope with those without resorting to maybe drugs or medication that would really divert your focus and maybe send you down a wrong
At the
path.
time.
You know?
I love that, Rudy. I think it's the perfect transition into what we wanted to talk about this episode as well. Because yes, grieve, I a loss of a loved one is probably one of the worst things that most people will endure, in their lives. And you have to get past it. You still have to live your life and take care of the people around you and move on. And that person who passes, right? That's what they would want, right? So it's and all these things, it's as corny as it sounds, showing up every day, getting more mentally tough, seeking discomfort, like Jeff says.
Yeah.
Those are things that help you deal with things outside of fitness. It's not just all about David Goggins and running a marathon. It goes a lot deeper than that. And that's why I shared the story about my mental health and how I had anxiety, and those are reasons for that. And I'll elaborate it maybe more on further episodes, but it's something that I had to build that mental callus, if you will, and it really helped me. So we wanted to recap the 5, and we've already talked about a few, like work ethic and vulnerability. You said talking to the friends, right?
Right.
But we're trying to embody the 5 blocks. Guys, we're not perfect, okay? I know we talk about these things and the clips we put out, we're saying a little blurb about it, but we go against these or make mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
The point of this is not to be perfect at all, right, Rudy? We are trying to embody the 5 blocks. I'm going to restate them. Hopefully I don't screw it up. I have them written down, but I'm going to try to do it in order. Vulnerability, consideration, trust and honesty, work ethic, which had nobility of character wrapped into it, and then of course gratitude was the 5th one. And Austin gave us a shout out to Austin. He liked the episode.
Glad he listened.
Have to get more content out there, but those are what we're trying to embody. And it doesn't mean that we're perfect, but now that we're putting ourselves out there and we're actually thinking on a deeper level about these topics, which I never thought. I mean, I knew what they were conceptually, but I wasn't thinking about them and writing notes about them and having elongated conversations with them, because not only do we have the conversations on the podcast, guys, we don't just hop on and talk. I mean, there's hours of conversation that go into it before. There's text message threads that go back and forth. There's notes that I'm writing in my phone notes in the sauna. And by thinking about, I think one of the easiest ones to keep going back to is gratitude. Now that we're talking about it and we're putting it out there and we're being vulnerable inside of that and then putting these clips out there, it's at the top of my mind now, where maybe it wasn't as much before. So now I can look at every day and be more grateful. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I would have been as grateful for the trip to Quebec in Quebec City if I didn't put myself in that position to really learn more and dive more philosophically into some of these topics, right? So I just wanted to really share that it's like reading, right? Reading is a superpower. You hear all successful people talk about it because they're diving deeper in the topics that they want to just arbitrarily think of,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's very important to read, to study.
Well,
and part of the reason why we're even doing this, Rudy, right, is because I listened to podcasts. It changed my life, and that was a way for me to learn, absorb, and then try to act differently in the world.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Really, no, absolutely, dude. Putting these blocks into practice, a lot of time, as you mentioned, and thought over the last year has gone into really developing this list. All right. We think at Blockhead Nation that if you're able to exhibit these characteristics, these virtues in your day-to-days, in your pursuits of goals, you will eventually achieve them. All right. Now, they're not the only things, but they're a good base. And what we're trying to do here is, like you said, we don't want to, and Kyle said it too, we don't want to coach, or we don't want to sound coachy. All right. We're not perfect. We're going through the process as we're speaking right now. But the point is that if we can consciously exercise these blocks as we're pursuing goals, as we're staying focused on what we're doing, we're going to get there. I believe that, and I don't think there's anything that could be said or done to deter us at this point too. We're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep talking about this stuff, and we're going to keep telling you our mistakes. We're going to be honest about it, but we're going to keep doing the work. And we're frankly extremely thankful that we can do the work, and we're in a position to put these out on a bi-weekly, maybe monthly on occasion basis. But we have a goal of 24. This will be 6. We're 4 months. We're
gonna keep cranking.
We're gonna keep fucking cranking, man. So
yeah, well, like I said before, though, it's 10:30, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I literally was trying to like take a nap before this, so I wasn't like a shell of myself with bags like Bilbo Baggins underneath my eyes, looking like a damn raccoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I was exhausted. I don't know why. Whatever. Probably a combination of things, and the travel and stuff. But I literally got up. You were able to get on. I was running a little bit slow because, I was kind of waiting for the text message, but should have set more stuff up. So sorry about that. I freaking put my head under the cold shower.
Nice.
I put my head under the cold shower, shook it off, went downstairs, got a drink or whatever, ran up the stairs and, kind of moved around a little bit. And now that we're here and we're talking and we're doing it, it's like getting up for the gym in the morning.
Yeah.
We don't need to go down that again. We've talked about that a lot, but you get up, it sucks. Everyone's woke up early before or waking up early. That's probably how you say it. Like even when we went to Quebec City, it was like, but then next thing you know, you're driving, the weather's beautiful, you're on the road and, there's no traffic and you're like, this is fucking awesome. It
Yep.
just sucked for the first 10, 15 minutes of being up and now I'm on the road with my coffee or I'm in the gym and I feel great.
Yep. Yeah. Just show up, man. Just anybody that's listening, just show up. Whatever you want to do or got to do or what you think is going to make you better, just show up. And 9 times out of 10, 10, 15 minutes in, it's going to be a lot better than you felt that initially going there.
And I really want to say this too, and a shout out to Jeff again. You chase discomfort to feel more comfort, actually, because when if you do the most uncomfortable thing that you're gonna do in the morning, which is getting up early because it sucks ass. I hate doing it, especially when I don't sleep good. You make your bed, you make, your smoothie, whatever, you're cooking breakfast, you don't want to do any of it, you just want to order Dunkies, you know what I mean, and get your breakfast sandwich and move on with your life. You go to the gym, you make the tough calls, you finish the email, you do the little project that you have to do for your presentation at 10.
Yep.
When you do all those things before 10 a.m. or whatever you have it, you've already done the hardest things you're going to do that day. So even though you chase discomfort, you actually made the rest of your day easier. So then you can actually relax more. It takes down your anxiety. Maybe you can catch the rest of Suits on Netflix or whatever with, your significant other because you put in the work early and now you can enjoy the comfort. So it's not all about go, go, go. I mean, I'm somebody who likes to burn the candle at both ends and really see what my limits are sometimes, but it's awesome when I feel like, wow, I actually, wait a sec. Even though I didn't feel super accomplished today, I still went to the gym. I went to the driving range and worked on my golf swing. I went for a walk with Gina. We made dinner. I hit my calorie goals. Did these few little things for work. It wasn't that bad of a day. Let's hang up the jersey. Let's hop on a podcast. Let's go on put something on social media or let's fucking record a podcast at fucking 12 o'clock at night.
Bird, baby, bird, man. Yeah, man. Dude, I'm the same way. You just keep fucking going. Just keep going.
It's insane, dude. It really is insane.
That's not a Diet Coke, is it? What, seltzer?
No. I almost had a Coke Zero up here, but it's just a seltzer water, and they've all been exploding when I open them, so I literally have water all over my pants right now.
Love seltzer.
You can't
though.
see it.
I feel like
It's great.
Seltzer is the dad drink. If your dad, or yeah, I know you're, maybe aspiring someday, you'd be a great dad, Don. But I feel like that's the dad drink. You get a nice lime seltzer. Oh, that's like refreshing towards the end of the day. I crack a peach.
I love it.
On occasion, maybe a raspberry.
The raspberry's good. I like the raspberry. It really is, and I like it because I used to love soda growing up. I don't like it as much, but I do have like a Coke here and there. I get like the little cans of Coke Zero because like it's the perfect amount of soda. Because once you get like, I used to drink like these big sodas, like it's so bad for you. But I don't even like it. You don't want it. Like when you have like a 20, if you just feel like a soda and you get like a 20-ounce bottle, you don't even finish it most of the time, right? It's too much soda. But yeah, just those little sodas are awesome. But I used to not like seltzer at all, but I've kind of acquired, just like coffee, I've acquired the taste for it, and they are really refreshing. Because for like a couple of years, all I drank pretty much was water and coffee, and I'm like, I gotta switch it up a little bit. So I get like the electrolyte or like Gatorade Zeros, and then I get the Coke Zeros, seltzer water, and then waters, coffee, and that's kind of my little routine. And then obviously I'll dabble with the occasional delicious cold malted beverages in the form of Coors Light or PBR, and I noticed this too. I some of these catchphrases all my friends have heard a million times, but I realized like I started getting into the microbreweries and the craft beers and the all that stuff or whatever, the IPAs. There you go. And then I just realized I fucking like cheap domestic beer. I'm from fucking North Adams, okay, and I just like myself a Bud Light or a Coors Light or a PBR. Or a fucking Heineken or a Miller High Life, and I'm happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah, I disagree slightly. I'm more of an IPA guy. It fucks up my stomach. To each their own. If I had a drink of choice, I gotta, I don't want to sound snobby, but I'd go with a wine. I'm a Pinot Noir type
Oh,
guy.
wine's great, yeah.
I
It will get you if you have too much, but
I will have too much, and I love it. I love it so much. Anyways,
I don't
back
want
to
to. Yeah, we're
back.
talking about the building blocks. We're talking about how much we like to drink, but no, what's I will say about drinking though is like what's cool. It used to just be and my friends will obviously you included will can all agree to this, but it used to be this aggressive like competitive event every single time to
Yeah,
drink as many beers as you could.
yeah,
Um, and now it's like even in Quebec City, like we went out to an Irish pub there. I drank like three. They had these big glasses of Coors Light. I drank like three of those. I think we had a glass of wine at dinner. Throughout a pretty good chunk of time with food,
hmm
I felt good. Wasn't fucked up or anything, and went back, slept fine, got up, drove freaking 6 hours, then golfed after, and and it was fine. So it's like I wasn't. There is a way to drink responsibly, and I used to always hear that part of the commercial and be like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
you know what I mean. Now it's like, oh yeah, no, it's actually pretty good.
yeah.
I want to go to bed at fucking 9 p.m.
It's so much better, dude. Where you're not fucking
Yeah,
going ham. You just feel better. But all right, back to what I wanted to say is that, and as I get distracted, as my ADD kicks in, and I talk about all the fun things in life, putting you through that discomfort and doing the work necessary to achieve what you're set out to do, like that's all that matters. I said it in our prep episode here. Marcus Aurelius had a quote. Is basically focus. Uh, Anything that takes your focus away from the task at hand and being better at that task is irrelevant and is a waste of time. You really need to focus on that one thing, and because everything else is going to be gone, you're going to be gone someday. Those naysayers that uh, say you can't achieve that goal, or anybody that's um, going to try to dissuade you in any way, shape, or form, they're going to be gone, and all you have left is that goal. All you have left is that focus and that time that you need to do that you need to spend to get to that goal. So
absolutely.
if you have a wine on occasion or beer on occasion, great. But if you're doing it too often, it's taking your focus away. It really is. It's gonna.
That's a really great point, and I feel like there was always things that I wanted to do, and alcohol was a huge distraction for me. I
Yeah,
mean, you can't accomplish any serious goal if you're getting fucking lit up
yeah,
multiple times a week.
yeah,
Because it's like not only are you just useless for that night, you can't drive anywhere, you can't do anything, you're not thinking half straight, you're putting yourself in bad positions, and then the next day you're useless. Especially the older you get. I mean, if
yeah.
I overdo it, I'm a shell of myself for like multiple days after that. Like
Absolutely.
that's now no way to chase and attack a goal. You're chasing discomfort, but in the wrong way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, right. You're
Yeah, big
chasing.
time.
They're chasing.
And
You're chasing an escape. Kyle mentioned it in work ethic too. Those
yeah,
vices that we resort to, um, to get away from the responsibilities that we have on a day to day basis to get to where we got to get.
moderation,
Be aware of that
moderation.
moderation. Oh, that's one of the greatest quotes ever, and it's something my father will remind me of anytime I see him. Everything in moderation, um, good or bad.
Moderation, moderation.
Just keep that in mind in everything you do. So,
In life, moderation, moderation, moderation. In business, location, location, location.
amen.
Ended there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, end of the
But
episode.
so there's a few points though that I wanted to bring up though, to weave this episode together with some clarity. Um, a big thing going, and this is a great segue, I think, balance. This Blockhead series, it's a balance, right? Like you can't just go balls to the wall, work ethic every single day. Freaking David Goggins, run 5 miles, sleep 4 hours, work 12 hours. Like You need that balance. Go on that nice weekend retreat with a significant other. Go out to eat, make dinner. Say, hey, let's just start watching American Idol or a Netflix show at 6 p.m. We earned it. We earned it, right? Um, Balance. Do the blockheads or whatever. You can build your own blocks, right? This
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
is an interactive community, like it says on our Instagram page, but we're very open to other ideas. We want to hear what your ideas are. Your 5 blocks necessarily don't have to be ours, but they should be something close to it to get you to where you got to go.
Yeah.
The steps can be different to get to your goal, and that's okay. But these are just good concepts or good placeholders to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Just have them.
But you can change different. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say just have
Like,
some type of set list in your mind as it's like golf too, right? Okay, got it. Straight front arm. All right. Shoulder to chin. Like something in your head as you're going through your day to day that resembles these blocks will help you get to where you got to get. I really feel like that. You know?
dude, it's so good. I literally want to. I don't want to, especially on online. I don't want to cut you off because
Go
we
ahead.
want to make sure it sounds good. But dude, it's when you conceptualize something, right? It's perfect. But you said it's in your mind. It's in our mind because we've talked about it for hours. We've written things down.
Mm.
It doesn't exist until you write it down. And not until recently in my life did I start writing things down, making to-do lists. I've always done to-do lists and stuff, but I mean, really thinking about ideas. So, like, if I was an artist, maybe one of my building blocks would be creativity. So, once a day for whatever amount of time, I'm going to sit by the river. I'm going to write down notes. I'm going to journal. I'm going to think of ideas. So, now part of something that I build into my days is actually creativity, right? Because I need to think of ideas. What clips are best to cut for us? What ideas would be good for the next episode? I'm thinking of people that we should bring on when we're going to do the interview series. So I'll think of stuff and I'll just go, you know what? You don't want those ideas to go away because sometimes you don't get them back. So just boom. If you have a good idea, write your phone notes. I started writing all the stand up jokes too, right? So I have the stand up jokes in there. I still want to do that, guys. I know it's a little delayed, but I'm hoping by the end of summer. That's what I'm announcing right now. I will do at least a couple, one or two, even a 5 minute round robin just to go up there. I'll try my best to have Gina or record it myself and just put that out there because me and Josh, a fellow colleague of mine, were talking about it, and he said it was actually really cool as well. Just chasing that discomfort of how uncomfortable I'll be up there and how that's just something that's in a way terrifying. You need to do things in life that scare you. You need to do things in life that get your heart beating like that. And I feel like getting on a stage doing stand up is that for me. Now, it doesn't have to be it for everybody, but I think almost anybody who were to do that for the first time is going to feel that. So I just can't wait to have that feeling and then conquer it and then have that gratification of saying I did this and now I'm going to do it again, or maybe it goes really well and I continue to do it and we get some good footage off of it and I have some fun with it and it's another hobby.
I am excited for that. I, you know, I always had probably a earned confidence about me to get up on stage and perform, and I always wanted to get up and share my songs. I still want to share my songs. I'm going to share my songs.
Which you need to. Fucking somebody comment below or
so-
whatever and tell this guy to start releasing
So
some of his music.
First thing, to your point about writing things down, I had written this song about John Rochello's cousin. His cousin had passed away from cancer, and he left behind a son and a daughter. And I saw his son, and during his funeral, and it was really sad. Son was
awful.
maybe 4 to 6, but I had written this song, and or at least the beginning of this song, and I could not remember it for the fucking life of me. And I repeat my songs in my head at daily. I'll try to sing them. I didn't write this down.
I didn't know that. Awesome.
I did not write this down, and I didn't practice it to the point where I remembered it, but it came back to me. So maybe I'll share it. If I don't share it tomorrow, I'll share it this weekend.
Sure, that's awesome, and John's awesome, and I'm sure his family's awesome, and that's a really touching story. But yeah, really
Well,
going, yeah, like the part of this journey, we want you to, so I really
yeah,
hope that people chime in and you start putting some more of that stuff out there, because our theme song's awesome. You have a beautiful voice, and you're creative inside of that, right? Because you're a good writer, so it goes deeper than just the pipes of it, right? It's the storytelling. That's
right,
what music is.
right. And so that was the first thing I just wanted to mention because it's so important that you write things down and record it some way or somehow. The second thing is I am so excited for when you can get up on stage and get those butterflies. Because like I said, once you just show up, you're gonna be out there for maybe a minute or two. You're gonna settle in, and it's gonna be fucking great. At least
It's gonna
that's
be
what
okay.
that's what I experience when I get up on stage. I'll share a vulnerable story. I ran for Mr. Wennick in my senior year in college, and I was singing "You Should Let Me Love You" by Mario, and I fucking
That clip,
I
yeah,
know,
that's awesome.
but it's it it's a bad. I get bad feelings from it because Don, this was the one
Oh,
time I was on stage and I fucking forgot the words. I forgot the words
oh,
toward the end. What it like that was that type of awkwardness. I hate that. I tried to play it off just fine, but I hated that I
yeah.
failed at that. Um,
It's funny.
so it's a
Oh, sorry.
sensitive.
No,
It's
finish
a
your thought.
it's a
Sorry.
sensitive that song.
Song
You
for you,
didn't
yeah.
know
And I
that,
put it,
and
yeah.
it's got
Well,
the most
I don't want
likes.
to. I don't. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to. That's a way cooler story. But I actually did the Mr. Jury for high school,
Yeah,
and I think I might have come in like second or something like that. But I was gonna. I used to always dance to TikTok
yeah,
by Kesha, with the basketball team and stuff.
yeah.
And that was going to be my thing. I was just going to do a goofy dance. I didn't rehearse it. I just thought I'd, go out there, and if I had a good dance, then maybe I'd have a good chance at it, right? And they couldn't. I didn't have like it was 2000 and I don't know 14 or 13 or whatever the hell it was. No, it was 2009, 2010. Sorry, and literally I remember Steph Moranti went and grabbed a CD from her car, and then like the CD didn't work or it wasn't in her car, and we had like a little like CD player, and there was no way to play the song. So then I had no other. I'm like, I don't even have any other talents. So I just had to go up there and basically be like, yeah, like, you should vote for me because I'm like the man. You know what I mean? Like it was like the most pathetic thing ever. So I'm standing there in front of a crowd of people just trying to explain why I should be Mr. Jury, even though I have no talent to show them because the only thing I had was dancing. And but that was kind of a I don't know if at the time I conceptualized that. I might have just buried that, but I kind of let it roll off. But that's the thing about like getting better at things. It's like I'm like, wow, I don't even have a backup thing besides like my little dance moves, right? It's like getting better at something and cultivating hobbies is very important. I used to always joke around. My only hobbies are basketball and drinking. So it's just so nice to have a different hobby, and it's a creative hobby. This is challenging. We're up doing this. We have to think about things. We have to weave together ideas. We have to try to do the editing process, see what the best clips are to put online, and there's just so much more that goes into it than maybe the average person thinks. And it's I'm very grateful to start. I just thought because I can't sing or I don't do art work, I am not a creative person, and I'm starting to realize that I actually am a pretty creative person when it comes to certain things, like even whether dancing, obviously I mentioned, but fashion, color schemes, but then also a media sense where I feel like I have a decent beat on what people might like or like ideas at least to talk about and elaborate on. So
And that is it. Like, I mean, you going through that. I was just thinking as you were talking, like you going through that, that trial and tribulation of like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? That I feel like these events, this is like this is what life really is. This is where the good stuff happens because you learn from it. You don't die. All right. You've
yeah, it's just awkward. You know what I
It's
mean?
just awkward. It's there. I'm gonna look. I want to. I have dreams of looking back on that Mr. Wennick thing and being like, oh yeah, I fucked that up so terribly, but here's all my Grammys. You know, or I was in
But
a
yeah,
I
what's
was in a
great is you did
cube.
it. Yeah,
I was in a cube. Working 9 to 5s for 10 years. Oh, but here's all my Grammys. you know, these are my dreams,
Yeah.
right? But at the same
Yeah.
time, even if I can just get beyond that to the point where I can put myself out there and be vulnerable and share what I feel like I have a talent for. That's what this is about. That's what this podcast is about, and that's what we're about showing is that just go after what you need to go after and try to, put the past to the side and move on. Um, be grateful that you can move on, you know.
Dude, speaking of color schemes, I love the Blockhead shirt. We're gonna put more merch on the website. You can get any of the merch that you see us wearing. We can make it happen. It's not all on the website yet, but we will have that updated soon. And if you look at Rudy's hat, and I might have mentioned this before, but I have to mention it again. That's a bigger version of the Blockhead logo. It's actually
Oh,
BH or right
yeah, yeah,
BHN. So right, Blockhead
right.
Nation. So it's the
Blockhead
reason
Nation. Oh, I'm
people.
doing it this way.
It's not. Yep. So see, that's the blockhead you always see us wearing, right? Like what on the other side of this hat. But then it's blockhead, right, or Blockhead Nation.
Right.
And the reason why it's not just there's intent to the little squiggle in the stick figure because it makes
An H and an N. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So very, very creative. Speaking of creativity, and obviously Rudy created that, which is part of the NFT and stuff like that too, which we are also really looking forward to getting more into. But we want to get to the Blockhead series, and we're very grateful to do the recap. Now, one thing before we get off, Rudy, because I think we're doing pretty good on time here. We're around 50 minutes.
Yeah, we're 15 minutes.
So probably finish right inside of
We,
an hour. Sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're doing good. But one thing that I wrote down when we were talking about the episode last night is that which block are Rudy and Donnie, us, lacking in the most? So I'm going to turn that question on to you kind of on the spot. And if you had to look at the 5-part Blockhead series, what do you think that you might be lacking in and maybe the reasons why, and then what you can potentially do to try to build up on that and kind of get that balance that I was talking about, right? Because it is a balance. You can't just go hard in one of these aspects. You really have to balance them all out in order to
Yeah,
successfully get towards what you're looking to get towards.
yeah, and we talked about it briefly last night. I said work ethic, but that's not really true. I think I've done the work. I have all these songs. I need to be vulnerable, and I need to release them. I need to
I love that.
show you
You do.
guys what I've been doing, what I hum in my head 23 out of 24 hours a day. Even when I dream, it's really crazy. But I just
That's awesome.
it's something that I can't explain, but I just things just come to me sometimes, and I'm not a savant or a genius or a musical. Um, I'd like to think that I have some type of talent, but I uh, I just really hum these
Obviously you do. Are you humble pie? But yes, go ahead.
yeah, I just hum these melodies, and then I try to put some words to it that
Yeah,
I think I can relate to first, and then hopefully others may someday too. So I think
that's a gift,
vulnerability.
Rudy. Yes. Well,
Yeah,
first off, thank you for sharing that. I'm not stopping you short,
absolutely.
am I?
No, man, that's it. That's
It,
it. I want to hear
yeah,
yours.
beautifully said. First off, okay. Secondly, you have to be vulnerable in order to do that, right? But that is an innate talent. It's something that's within you, so you need to share that to the world. It's your calling. I don't fucking sing melodies in my head, Rudy. They don't. I don't. I there's things that come to me. Don't get me wrong. There's things that come to me and ideas, and this podcast has been a great way for some of these little creative ideas that I have. Right? You've seen, and
Yeah.
being able to bring them to light's been awesome. But I don't. My brain doesn't work like that. I don't have much of a musical bone. So
Hmm.
once in a while I'll kick a decent freestyle. You know what I mean? But you've seen a few.
Oh yeah, you
But like I
got
said,
it.
that's also hit or miss. So the fact that you have that, like a lot of people don't. You have to realize that, dude. There's 80-90% of the population that doesn't have that ability. Their brain doesn't work that way. So that's a gift that you've been given by the greater powers of the world. And it's up to you to share that. And you need to be vulnerable and use our building blocks in order to share that. And I'm putting you on the spot here to do it. You need to share it. We also need more content. And like I said, I feel the same way. Sometimes I want to record myself more or give people an update or put something funny up, and I don't just put the camera in front of myself and just talk like I do in regular life. So believe me, we're all guilty of it. I'm not here just to call you out. I'm going to say that I think that
that's what friends are for, Don. You know, you're holding me
Yeah.
accountable. You know, I appreciate that you're saying the truth, man. You're saying, dude, there's not many others that like me, and that is true. And I like to think that too, but I also know that you know, I've been holding on to these things a little too long, and it's about time that we start releasing them and just getting feedback and doing, you know, trying to make things happen.
Dude, this wasn't planned, by the way, guys.
No.
This is perfect. And honestly, I'm not going to cop out. I'm going to say the same thing for the reason that I just said. Honestly, because I just looked back down at the Blockhead series, the 5 blocks to see, and vulnerability is the same with me. You know, I'm not being vulnerable enough with myself to go out there, to take the steps to maybe do the stand-up thing, which is something that not many things make me nervous with what I do on a day-to-day basis. Of course, there's things that make me nervous, but I've been putting that off because, one, I know I'm going to get nervous before I do it. I have to really put myself out there. And when I made the announcement that I was going to do the podcast and the stand-up that started this all, the Facebook post that you commented on, and, here we are now. So awesome. 5-6 months later, what people said to me, a lot of people were like, hey, Ryan, I think that you would be awesome on a podcast. So I got a lot of, gas in my tank or whatever for the podcast, but people were like, I don't know about stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
And now I also have that little competitive thing in me where I'm like, I want to prove them wrong, because I actually feel like if I put the work in, I do have some innate talents and ability to speak in front of people and witty little humor that I feel like I'm not going to go up there and be fucking Bill Burr or Dave Chappelle, but I think that I could be a lot better than people think. So now it actually, which is good because it gives me a little bit of motivation. So I think, vulnerability is something that I'm lacking in. It's funny that it's the same between both of us. And that's why, guys, like, we wouldn't, that this is actually great because it's a blind spot. We both have this blind spot, but because we're working through the Blockhead series, we're able to now identify and be like, you know what? Shit. We're talking about these things, but we actually need to put them into action. Yeah. So this is us in real time holding ourselves accountable and saying, you know what? I'm going to put more posts. I'm going to share more about what's going on with me. Rudy's going to put out the music, and I'm gonna get my ass going and start to put together a better segment so I can do the stand up. And there's plenty of open mics out here, so I really have no excuse not to do it.
And you're right, Don. You have a presence about you. You got a voice that is second to none. It gets people's attention. I am so pumped for when that day comes because I will be there in the audience heckling you, and it's gonna be great.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When I was going back to the conversation I literally had today about it. It's funny that it's coming up now. I wasn't even, like I said, none of this is planned. I will probably do it myself. Maybe Gina will be there because whatever. You know what I mean? She's seen every side of me, so it's not going to make me too much more nervous. But she would just to be there, support me, and then obviously if somebody were to record it, it'd be awesome because I want that memory regardless of whether I was going to share it online or not. And that would be, but I would probably do it with nobody. And then if I were able to do it 1 or 2 times and feel decent about it, I'd love to invite a bunch of my friends. That'd be really funny. It'd be a good excuse to get together and do something fun because I think people would rally around me conquering those fears and doing something different.
Absolutely, dude. Oh, 100%. That is what's up. Like that, people love that.
Yeah.
Rooting for you, man. And yes, ease into it. Try to get comfy. You may never get comfy, but at the same time, you're going to get that practice in. You're going to have some experience under your belt, and you're going to undoubtedly get better as you go.
Well, yeah, what's funny about I obviously, I listen to a lot of podcasts, hence the motivation to do this. Joe Rogan and all those guys talk about bombing all the time. It's just part of it. Like, you're going to forget your set like that time when you sung Mario at Winnick. Yeah. The Let Me Love You song, which is one of the best songs of all time, by the way.
It is a good song.
Just gotta sidebar that. But it's, you have to put yourself out there and do these things. And I think that I'm really looking forward to doing it because it's going to be a good challenge. And that's really my biggest fear. I mean, I don't really have any issue standing up there. I don't have any issue writing jokes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have an issue. I have an issue with forgetting it and then feeling like a fucking asshole. That's you know what I mean. And and it's I think I might have put some. No, maybe I didn't. But I listened to something the other day, and it's so simple, but it was like, what are you? Oh, is this like Indian monk guy? Like whatever. I don't know exactly what his name was, but he was talking to Mike Tyson on a podcast or an interview, and he's like, what are you like? What are your fears? Like, what are you afraid of? And he's like, oh, I don't know, you know, things that I got to do, what's coming up in the future, fights, whatever. And he's like, people spend time obsessing about things that happened in the past 10 years ago. They don't exist anymore. What happened 10 years ago actually doesn't exist in the world. It has no bearing on anything moving forward. And we spend time thinking about it. Think about it. Like, I'm worried to do the stand up and you're worried to do the music just because maybe you might forget a lyric or maybe somebody will comment on it. And of course, listen, if we put it online, somebody's going to comment on it, especially if we get big enough and say, you fucking suck. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people sending our stuff around and being like, these guys are freaking idiots, but who cares? It is what it is. I feel like I've gotten a good resilience to no's and criticism through sales. So, it's time to kind of take that callus or that resilience that we talked about, right, into different things. And I think that the more things that you do, the more resiliences you can build up. But starting in the gym or using your strengths are a good point. Because say, okay, well, why wouldn't I put my music out there, or why wouldn't I do my stand up, or whatever you want to do, right? Or why wouldn't I start this endeavor? Because I do sales. I actually am pretty good at hearing no and dealing with rejection or overcoming objections. So why can't I start to practice that in this side of thing? Wait, I can wake up at 4 a.m. like Rudy does to go to CrossFit. Wait, if I redirect my goal, maybe I can wake up at 4 a.m. to do something else and put the workout on the shelf for a little bit. Because going back to balance, to kind of bring this thing full circle before we finish, you have to sacrifice other things in your life. Like if I'm going to start a business or do something, which we want to walk everybody through all this stuff because we're really having these conversations. I really want to do something like that soon. You need to sacrifice. Like I might not be able to do the podcast as much or the gym as much. Like you're going to have to take certain sacrifices at certain phases in your life in order to accomplish the goals that you've always wanted to accomplish. And that's what balance is about. But you still need to keep all of these blocks in mind.
Yep. Yes. All right. Amen. I don't have much to build on right there. I think that's the perfect way to end it. Keep the balance. Try to reflect on your blocks, and always just show up. Just keep going. And we're gonna try to show you guys how we go about it. So I think
absolutely. Yeah, I think that was yeah, I think that's all really good. And I guess one last thing I'll say, because I did have this jotted down, Rudy, when it comes to that last thing, is that when you're managing your time and you're canceling out certain things in order to reach a certain objective, right? You need to learn how to say no. And something that I struggle with is saying no to certain things. And actually, as I'm trying to maybe move into a different type of investment or business venture and really try to take people through this and really just do things for my own self and my own family and moving forward. But as I make these things, I need to say no to stuff. And it's very hard for me to say no to little jobs or different opportunities. Like you have to say no to certain people. You can't say yes to every opportunity. You can't say yes to every event, every dinner, every whatever, right? You have to start saying no. And that's something that even somebody like me, who's kind of a yes man, who likes to go out and burn the candle at both ends, in order to achieve that balance, you have to get used to saying no and really finding out what's priority and what's not. So
and
I guess I'll leave it at that.
And by the way, that gets us back to discomfort too. It's going to be uncomfortable sometimes. So you got
switching your routine, right? Switching your routine is chasing discomfort because we're such habitual creatures that you need to chase discomfort. And in order to achieve different goals, you're going to have to switch your routine because every goal requires a different routine.
Yep.
So
I'd say that's it. You know, I'm curious to see what Kyle would say for his block. All right, we got to get off this thing, but I do want to just say,
Please.
and maybe we could snip it into the vulnerability piece, because I want to say a lot of men probably are in a, you know, had grown up being jocks or grown up in sports, and maybe they have a creative interest that they're not really exercising. And um, I want I want to be able to show that it's okay, um, because it's who you are. It is your gift, and if it's something that comes easy to you, or something that comes, it doesn't, maybe it doesn't come easy, but it's just something you really enjoy and love to do, and can do it for hours on end, um, without getting too tired of it, then it is for you. And it's important to explore that. Um, and when it comes to releasing that stuff, be vulnerable. You have to do it. You just have to do it, if you want to make life changes. So that's one thing I just wanted to
I
tie in there.
I love that. Guys, episode 6, Blockhead, recap, Rudy and Donnie. Kyle will be back soon. Dave is in the background just doing amazing things. And yes, be vulnerable. I do want to say this. Part of the Blockhead mantra was that, because we're just blockhead dudes, guys who played sports, did whatever, but we want to show that it's okay to pave this path, search these philosophical ideas, dig a little bit deeper, be vulnerable, and then achieve the things you've always wanted to achieve, and try to get out of our own ways. So
Keep building, block by block.
block by block, babe. Ciao.
Peace.
A blockhead, yes I am.